Tomorrow steals what once was today's. The blessings that you once gave you now take. Now there's a void like an empty quiver. You showed me that I love the gift, not the giver. Oh, how this heart has failed me again. I've fallen into a terrible sin. I've been asleep when I should be awake, pretending I'm good for my very own sake. 'Cause I love the things of this earth, things that decay like bones in the dirt. It's clear you said on setting me free. I can only be saved if it's you saving me. I can only be saved if it's you saving me. Your atmosphere pressing near, rolling with the clouds, heavy rains, falling tears, cleansing the town. Steel blue skies look alive, burning on my brain. The way you move, bending light, bows of rain. Is it too late? Is it too late? was when you'd cross it infinite times. Maybe it's better we tried to love each other than we said goodbye. 'Cause I learned to spot a toxic love like you got before it get me high these days. These days. These days. These days. A thing I never tried, words I never prayed. When you tried to fly, I just watched you afraid. I didn't know how to love. All of your hopes turned into dust. I couldn't hear your cries for help, so I moved on. Dreamwalker, haunting me in my sleep. All I have to offer is a heart empty, things I never said start to choke me. Dreamwalker, won't you set me free? Year of my life, hundreds of days, trusting your eyes, drifting in the haze. You didn't know how to love. All of my hopes turned into dust. My cries for truth fell on deaf ears, so I moved on. Dreamwalker, haunting me in my sleep. All I have to offer is a heart empty, things I never said start to choke me. Dreamwalker, won't you set me free? From all these memories, I'll pray for relief. I'll hope for the day I'll know when to stay and when to leave. Dreamwalker, haunting me in my sleep. All I have to offer is a heart
And that's how we get started, everybody. All right, well, oh boy, I just got cleaned up look. It's the way it is. It's the part of this show. I'm Jeff Plankenhorn, everybody, and welcome to 20 Question Tuesdays. This week, my guest is Natalie Price. And, as you can see, Oscar's hanging out. Hello, Oscar. You can just barely see him. Let's see. Hey, buddy. He's not impressed, which is fine. Those of you who don't know, 20 Question Tuesdays started early on in the lockdowns of 2020. And I just turned on my camera one day and started taking questions. And it was really great because all sorts of people showed up. Songwriters showed up, guitar shredders showed up, managers showed up, all sorts of interesting people. And it was a lot of fun, and I started doing it every week. Then Sheila Steele from Austin Music TV said, hey, would you like to put that on our public access channel? And I said, sure. So I got a fun app where I can stream to multiple different places. And, I saw this little button down at the bottom that had a person next to it and a plus sign. And I said, well, that will be infinitely more interesting if I invite one of my friends on every week. So I started out, I think the first was Michael O'Connor, and then we had Jamie Harris and Scrappy Judd, and then Bill Kirchen, and then it just started snowballing, and we've had everybody from Lloyd Maines to Ray Wiley Hubbard to Ruthie Foster, and, I like having new people on, I like having songwriters on. I've even had a host of a house concert on once. Peggy Hanna was awesome on the show. And the best thing about this show that I like, personally, is that it's not my questions, it's questions from you. I get on 15 minutes early, and I play some music from the artist that I really am excited about having on. You guys get to preview a little bit of their music and then ask questions of said artist. Like we just listened to all that beautiful music from Natalie Price, and we're going to talk about that more. Little quick housekeeping. I take tips to split with my guest. And basically, I'm just looking to try and get, a tank of gas or a nice takeout meal for Natalie or something, a little grocery money, something like that. So thank you very much for keeping the wheels rolling on this thing and my upkeep, and for doing something nice for the guests that I have on every week. I really appreciate that. If you want to find anything out about my music, you can go to plank.hearnow.com. That's where all those things are. I also have a link tree attached to my Instagram, and I should probably have that up here too, and I don't. I have been saying you can go to plank.wtf/shows, and you can find out about where I'm playing. But I just played my last gig on the books for a while because, sadly, we canceled our October-November tour due to the rise in the Delta variant, and too many people out there thinking that it's their personal choice and not the choice of looking out for their neighbor to get a vaccine and wear a mask. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to be political. I don't think it's political. Please, please, please. I've seen too many deaths just in the last week of people I know from not getting a vaccine. And that's 100% the truth. So please, 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 take care of yourself, take care of each other. It's getting harder, and I don't want to see another really, really long winter, and neither do you. So, then, going away from all the heavy stuff, let's see, all the good stuff. Oh my gosh, we have so many questions that I'm just going to jump right in. I've already missed writing down questions. You guys got to get the questions in a little bit before the show, then I can write them down. But I'm going to try and get to every single one of these, and without further ado... Oh, I forgot one more thing. AustinCityJams.com. Thank you so much, Kirby, for always having this on AustinCityJams.com. For those of you who don't have socials and are not part of that world, you are able to go to AustinCityJams.com and listen to this. Okay, now without any further ado, hello, Natalie.
Hello.
The sound is good. Anybody who wants to tell me out there, it's kind of like I'm the kind of person who doesn't mind someone helping me out with directions. I'm very not your average Austin driver that way. And so if anybody out there says, hey, you're too loud, Jeff, or Natalie's not loud enough or something like that, it's fine. Put that in the comments. I don't mind the help.
Super
How
helpful.
are you doing?
Doing all right. How are you?
You would know because you have a show yourself, which we will talk about, of course. But, I'm actually doing pretty well. Being back across behind the maple curtain, as we like to joke.
Nice.
But mainly just being with family and, my wife, my dogs, my outlaws, people like that. It's really nice. But I had pretty amazing time my 3 weeks in Texas. So thanks for asking. I'm a man of two countries, and I'm pretty lucky.
I got to see you in person once.
I know, it was
tour.
crazy. It was so good to see you.
It was a little surreal. I was like, I haven't seen you since before lockdown.
Yeah, I think there was a whole lot of people who were kind of like, I kept getting this. They'd say, you're in 3D. You know? I'm not in, obviously. So, that's the way that's going on. Hey, Nick, what's going on? He says hi to both of us. Well, hey, friend of the show and friend to me and friend to every musician out there in the world. Says, howdy, Joanna. How you doing? Very, very good. Good. Just click that both of your shows start with a 20. Yeah, I guess both of our shows do start with a 20. Yeah. Well, we are...
Great minds.
There you go. That's a way to say it. I like it. Ooh, here's a question from Robert Borowicz, friend of the show, Casa DBs, great house concerts. When will we see What We Daydream Now on a record? The best song. I have a feeling this might lead into some other good questions. Thanks, Robert.
Robert, it is. I recorded it in Nashville, and so it's coming out on the next record.
Yeah. That's what I was hoping you'd say. So you recorded it in Nashville, and when was that?
June
Recently.
Of this year. Yeah.
What was it like recording during the pandemic? It was a little less of a lockdown right then, right?
It was this really beautiful window of all of the restrictions had lifted because all of the numbers were low. And so for most people in the studio, it was our first time to be in a studio with masks off and it be okay.
Wow.
And so we were all like, this is amazing. And it was the best time. And it flew by. It was really great.
we can at least know that the numbers went down when the vaccine came out, massively. They went massively down. So that's pretty scientific. So the more people we get vaccinated, regardless of variants and all that stuff, then the better it's going to be. And then we can enjoy that time again, hopefully someday.
I'm looking forward to seeing people in that way again soon, for sure.
Me too. So I'm trying to do my part as well. So who were you recording with in Nashville when you recorded that song?
My producer is Mary Bragg, and we were in the studio of John Estes. And Josh Kaler, who was my guest last night on my show, he played all the pedal and steel guitar sounds and other things like snaps and slaps and stuff. And Megan Coleman played drums, Ryan Medora played bass, and Liz played violin, Liz Estes.
Are you a particularly big fan of the steel guitars?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Now, I have not noticed on your other recordings that there's a lot of steel guitar, and I personally I'm not one of these people who says steel guitar equals country.
Right.
It doesn't
It's
at all. There's
totally
so many styles.
In the first album, because
Brian
Douglas Phillips produced my first album and the single I released last year, Heavy, and so he plays pedal in all of the songs.
It's a little bit ethereal, eh?
It is. It was definitely in a more...
Less steely country, less steely...
There was no violin on the first album, so if you hear a violin sound, it's probably pedal steel. Or, tinkly, ethereal guitar.
Yeah.
From Jacob Hildebrand. But, it was... So far, the first album was a really great experience. Brian Douglas Phillips here in Austin and those guys. Yeah. And then this next album I'm really, really excited about, too. And just going to Nashville just felt big, felt like a big move and a good thing and an exciting thing to do.
Any
hopeful
plans
thing,
on...
a step for the future,
Oh, well, we all need that, and we should all take that with us, and thank you for saying that, because we need a lot of that. I feel a lot of my friends talking doom and gloom right now, and there's so many things that we do have to be... if you turn on the news, then you just see the doom and gloom.
Yeah. I have to turn it off every now and then just because
I'll
focus too much on it. And actually, that's why I started my show, to get me out of looking at the news for I meant 20 minutes, but it's longer than that. But to just have a conversation with another person, because this is the thing that kind of brings me life, is connecting with another creative who I admire and Like talking about things that inspire us keeps me inspired.
I feel the same, and so with that, as we keep going on, we're going to hit so many topics because you and I know each other, and we also have things in common like this. Your show is called 20 at 10 with Nat, right? Mm-hmm. And it's primarily on Instagram?
It started out on Instagram. It's primarily now on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
Oh, okay. So similar.
Yes.
Fantastic. Good to know. And that's on Monday nights Central. And if you guys want to find out information on that, I have it ready right here. We can Vogue, or like we did with Betty Sue, we can Vogue, strike a pose, or that link tree down there is wrong because I spelled link with 2 N's. It's just that, little unprofessionalism
goes a long
that
way.
Makes me so lovable.
Awesome.
They go, he's going to have to just type a little during the show. Let me make sure I got it right this time. Add. Let's try this instead.
Yay.
Ta-da!
Beautiful.
All right, so back to the questions. That leads to a question from Heather. And Heather, I love this question, and thanks for being here. Can you compare and contrast being a web host versus being a guest? I know I can.
Well, when you're a host, you're thinking about a couple other things in your brain, like Jeff's clicking on buttons to bring the right thing up at the right time, and maybe you have questions. On my show, I come up with the questions. I don't necessarily... I'll take questions from people, but like...
Uh-oh.
I'm... And so I think being a guest is fun because... there wasn't anything else I had to do for today. Like, I didn't have to prep anything. I had to send you stuff in advance, but like... I just show up. That's fun.
Yeah, I would say it's like once you've hosted a show, being on the show is so much infinitely easier. It's like, okay, give me the link. I'll click in. I know how to set up my camera. I know how to get my microphone going. So the infinite ease with which you go is like, it's just a lot easier that way. And then you could kind of have fun with it too.
Exactly.
But do you feel like with your show, after having, I think you told me
210 episodes this week.
Now you've gone down to weekly.
Yeah, it was every night for like 6 weeks. And so
that is crazy.
And it's gotten longer. It started out as 20 minutes, hence the 20 at 10.
Right.
But it's now at least a 20-minute interview where I'm asking them questions for 20 minutes, and then they get to ask me, and then we play music, and it's about an hour now.
And I think that's good that you have, I kind of found my niche where I loved my audience's questions and the way they went. And I think that your niche is equally cool because both you and the guest are interviewing each other.
Yeah.
And that kind of provides, like, a different thing than you expect. You also have music. I usually don't have time because my guests... Very rarely. Sometimes people will pick up a guitar and play a song, and they'll have one ready because somebody had a question about a song, or somebody wanted to know about how David Grissom gets the tone out of one guitar or whatever. But usually we have so many questions that we can barely get to them in an hour. And, my people are nosy. What can I say?
I think that's great.
Yeah. I think that
the only thing, like, I'll have my guests have at least one question ready for me, because I like, as much as it's my show and I have it all planned, I know what to expect, like, I like there to be a little spontaneity, and that's why I have, I'll draw questions from a board game too, because I don't know what I'm going to ask,
That's fun.
And then you'll get something unexpected in the conversation, so.
Yeah, and I think that's a big part of it. Is that people come on. I think that people also really, really get from your show, and I hope and I feel like I get the response that they get from mine. They miss us all being able to see each other in the world, and in Austin at least. It's not the only people that I interview, and I know you don't either. But in Austin at least, we're also connected. We go to each other's shows. We sit in each other's bands. It doesn't matter if somebody's a little bit more of a household name, they're still going to shows and sitting in with people and doing that. So for them to see you and I at a show during non-COVID times is completely normal.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You know, and for them to be really, really missing that at home, you know, is a reason that they tune into things like this, and why I'm lucky to be able to do it. And I'm sure you feel the same about yours.
Yeah, yes, it is in a time where, especially in the beginning of lockdown, when so many unknowns and so blank of a calendar, to have one appointment to show up to every day was helpful, and to feel more connected with another person just made the biggest difference for me. So
it's huge. I agree. Mark asks, what book or author blows your mind, changes your worldview? And Mark, you know me, I'm a big Haruki Murakami guy. Oh, look at that. I can put it up on the screen. Look at this. Here you go. It's right there.
Oh,
I like that.
there you go.
I'm going to do that every once in a while. You know that. And I'm also finally reading some Noam Chomsky that I love. Speaking of being hopeful, he is so surprisingly hopeful about right now because of the activism that's going on in the world and the different movements that have gained steam. And for all the people who are not hopeful right now, and you got a lot of doom and gloom, there's stuff out there that might really, really help you out. But what do you think?
I am trying to... I'm looking one thing up really quick. Okay.
Oh, do it, yeah.
Is this right? There was a book series written by a princess out of Dubai. I think it was just called Princess.
Ooh.
And it is... I'm trying to get the author. It was... So I guess the story was told to this author who wrote a book, because obviously her identity had to stay private. And the book is called Princess, and Jean Sasson.
Okay, I'm going to put that in. Would you spell that for me? Princess by Jean
Sasson. Let me
Geanss.
2 S's. Sasson.
Should I say that's 3?
Oh. Yeah. Nice. Oh my gosh.
Okay, wait. Here we go. Princess by Jean Sasson. Fantastic.
Yeah. That was a really... So, I mean, I also am a person that reads the Bible, so I'm, like, not counting that book, because I feel like that is a book that...
You should count that. If that's the book that you read, and that will lead us to another question, but go ahead. You read the Bible, like,
yes.
often?
Yes. And that is full of principles that are, like, life-changing. But outside of that, like... I do a lot of audiobooks and not as much paper anymore, and a lot of the books I've been reading right now have been more like self-help books or like principles for like being a better business person. Because being a musician, you're really, president, founder, CEO, marketing, head of marketing. You do all of the things for yourself as a business, as a musician. So I'm currently reading The Energy Bus. I forgot who the author is, and that is like about your perspective and about your attitude related to how everything is going in the day, and when you approach it, kind of if you approach it with the glasses half full, like that is how your day is going to end up as well, based on.
That's pretty cool. I can dig on that for sure. Yeah. I can dig on that. Now, do you feel like okay, so for those who aren't initiated, any of us who isn't on a major label and doesn't have a manager, booking agent, blah 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 blah. Even if we have some of that team and not all of it, we become, like you said, manager, CEO. By the way, say hello, Alice. She wanted to say hello, so hi, sweetheart. Yes, we know you want to be on camera, always. Because of that, we are constantly running the business of music. Do you find, like I do, that it's particularly overwhelming sometimes?
Oh, for sure. I mean, it comes and goes in waves, but so I'm always looking for better ways to do things, or to do things more efficiently, or other people to work with, or streamline, or can I delegate some of this to someone else and pay them? Is that more efficient? Is that better use of my time and money?
It almost always is, but
can I just
do
stop
we have
doing
the money
some
to do
things?
it?
Yeah. That's the question.
Can you stop doing some things is also a really, really good one. I had that discussion with somebody, who said, well, these things don't make you money. It's like, well, yeah, but they also help me creatively.
Like this show? like
Yeah.
you and I have both had the opportunity to stop the show, and I've weighed the pros
Absolutely.
and cons, and I've decided that even when everything was kind of opening back up and it was a little bit harder to book people, I decided that no, it's still a good thing for me to have a weekly appointment, for me
Yeah.
to have a one-on-one conversation in a quiet environment, and to stay consistent, at least for a while longer. So
Me too. I like the connection. I like the connection
Yeah.
with fans. I like the connection with other musicians. I'm constantly being hipped to other music, you know, and it gives me a really good excuse to check in with the music of my friends and contemporaries, much
True.
less being hip to somebody I didn't know. Now, one other question regarding the business of music. I don't know about you, but I feel like it changes. It changes like, I wouldn't say weekly anymore, but I wouldn't say yearly. I would say more than yearly, certain things change. Like, when you consider how many accounts I need to have to be a professional musician, as in,
You froze
I have a
up on
sound.
me.
What's that?
Oh, one of your streams is having connectivity issues. I hope it's not me.
Uh-oh. Oh, I think, is everybody hearing both of us okay right now? We're both hardwired, or we're at least both, we both have green full bars. Hopefully it's still going okay. It might have just been a glitch. I blame the Canadian to American internet. There's just a little maple syrup in between with the
Probably.
queso. There's maple
With the
syrup
queso?
and queso.
Can you
Yes.
imagine? Wait, do you think
It's
that would actually be
confusing.
good?
No, I think it would be horrible.
Are you sure? Like, just a
Yeah.
little bit of maple syrup in the queso. It would be a sweet
Okay.
queso.
Okay, well maybe.
Have you ever had, like, maple syrup bacon?
Oh yes, I actually had that yesterday because the
So-
Airbnb where I was put up had maple syrup bacon. Yeah. It was
Okay.
insane. It was decadent. It was breakfast for lunch. No, it was dessert for breakfast. Anyway. I feel like it changes so fast, and I'm constantly like, oh, now I need a 20th account. Because
Yes.
we need Instagram, SoundCloud, Bandcamp, something that does our streaming, which for some of us is CD Baby, which covers a bunch of them, and then it covers all of them but Pandora. It covers Spotify and Apple Music and Tweezer, but it doesn't do, and it's just like, you're like, I got another one I got to put on this thing.
So anytime technology advances or someone comes along and combines all of them and you can, like, post one place and it posted in 5, and it's, like, dream come true. So, like, I don't know, I've recently connected with Amped Up, you know, and what they're trying
Right.
to do, like, is to try and streamline and simplify, and, like, that just makes me so excited. So
Well, let's talk about that for a
People-
sec. Amped Up is connecting clubs with people who don't necessarily have booking agents or have a booking agent and want virtual help. And so what they're doing is kind of creating a virtual booking agent.
Kind
And
of,
there's
yeah.
like one less step, and it's pretty neat. And both you and I have, in full disclosure, helped with like advising or doing like little beta tests and stuff and talking about
Yeah.
things, because you and I are probably both like, oh yeah, that would help a lot
yeah, that'd
if
be
it were
great.
there.
Yeah, like the idea of, oh, when you sign a contract with someone, all of a sudden they have access to all of the emails you send afterwards. Hey, can we get your artist bio? Can you send some photos? Hey, what are all your links to all of your things? Like all the things people ask for. Hey, do you have a writer? Hey, what do you need at the show? Here's our backline, whatever.
Now we can just
it
go,
cuts down, just download it all and you have all the information.
which is
so-
what a booking agent does anyway, if
Right.
they're actually doing their job. He says.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. Anyways,
Uh,
like people who are trying to make the industry better and entities that are trying to make things smoother for artists and venues and all people involved, I love it. And so even if there are things that I can do to create, like if I can create better systems for myself, whether that's like using Google Docs or whatever
Sure.
to communicate or share, or is Dropbox the preferred method to share things, you know, like
Doesn't that change often too? Like, I went through a phase where every person that I knew was young, this was about 2 years ago, said, oh, I hate Dropbox. Use WeTransfer. And then I was like, okay. And I learned how to use both, but I kept. Now, I find all these young people, much younger than I, going, oh yeah, I have a Dropbox. And then I'm like, wait, I thought you hated that, you know? And then other people are saying, oh, just do a Google and blah, 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 blah. My rule is have them all. I'm ready for all of it. It's unfortunate, but I have to have them all.
Yeah.
You know, which is
people
another
will ask
$5
for
a month
different
for
things.
everything.
Yeah. Yeah. It's SoundCloud. I like SoundCloud because you can share. Someone can listen to something without downloading it. You know, so like where all your files are, or where they're copied to. You know, as opposed to Dropbox.
I did SoundCloud for a number of DJs, and then I had a couple of local DJs who were like, "Yeah, I don't look at that," and then I was like, "Oh God." It's like I thought I had something that was like the industry standard, and then, you know...
If it's for radio or something where they're going to have to download it so they can upload it...
Makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. But if it's like a friend or a buddy or someone you want to like preview or listen to something, or like SoundCloud link is typically fine, you know?
Yeah. Even though I don't make any money off of it, I still send a lot of people to Spotify and Apple Music because I want the listens, and I want... what Spotify wants is the saves. They don't even care that much about your... you know, how many plays you get. They care that you're bringing new people in. They care that they're saving and following you. And so a lot of times I'll just say, to preview my music, just go look at the top 10. Because it's really varied, and it generally has whatever's being played right now. So it has a lot of my new songs. So as somebody who works out a lot, you know, Robert, we don't know what
I think that
Robert
was the
asks.
Point. What's the best file share?
Yeah, what's the best file share? Unfortunately, they all have ups and downs. I was just doing a photo shoot recently, or did a photo shoot, and I really liked it, and I was starring all the photos that I liked, and then I realized you star all the photos, but there's no way to create a folder that has the starred photos. So what did you do? What did you spend all that time doing?
Right.
Nothing really. You know, I can't like share the starred folder with anybody. Okay, so everyone has their ups and downs.
Yeah, it's so unfortunate.
They really, really do. Hey,
Robert,
our buddy John. Go ahead, please.
Oh, I was going to say, Robert, I also I had to choose between upgrading Google or Dropbox because I ran out of space on both. And I decided to go ahead and upgrade Google because it was cheaper than upgrading in Dropbox. And I got more space for less money. And so Dropbox, I just delete stuff out, and I keep a folder there for like radio and stuff that has all of my album in one place in an accessible file. Like, that's what I sent you for the show, Jeff.
That's what people need. You have to be able to just like save your time, put it all in one place, and you have to update it. Because I tell you, 6 or 7 months go by, and you're like, wait a second, that's not exactly me right now.
I know. I think my Unidoc is in there, like my announcement about the previous album, and I'm like, I should probably take that out. But
I'm like, yeah. But you didn't have to worry about it for me.
True.
We've got lots of other great questions,
and
I want to
come through. Okay.
I want to keep getting to them. Hey, since it's almost halfway through, which this is just racing by like I knew it would, I should say we are on Austin Music TV. Thank you for that. We are also on my Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. And we're on AustinCityJams.com. This is Natalie Price. We take some tips for the show, just trying to, I mentioned it once, twice, and then at the end. And it's really, really nice. I just want to make sure that Natalie gets a nice meal out of this or a tank of gas, and I keep the wheels rolling. And if you want to find out about Natalie's music and all these great things that we're talking about right now, here is where you find her as well. And we'll leave that one up there for a second. And let's jump up here. John Austin, this is my intro to you, Natalie. What path, songs, album, etc. would you recommend I follow to efficiently and accurately discover the essence of who you are as a writer, musician, singer, artist? Wow. John is basically, saying, what should I listen to first?
I would listen to Heavy first. It's the single I released most recently. I released it last summer. And it was a song written for a friend who kind of went dark on me. And so it's a friendship song. And it
happens.
It does happen. But the idea is like, I believe that the general burden is lighter when we bear it with each other. So that's what the song's about.
Wait, say that again?
Like, our collective burden
I just love the way you just said it.
The general burden is lighter when we carry it together.
What a nice sentiment, and I would wholeheartedly agree. I really like that. Cool. Well, what's funny is Doug Ryan often asks, and he says, yet another awesome guest. So that is a little compliment to you, my friend.
Thank you.
What is Natalie's most important spiritual principle? Now that is kind of close to what you were just talking about. That is a spiritual principle, in my opinion, is sharing the burden with others. But do you have one? This is another person who kind of has a common question for people and likes to hear their answer to this question.
Well, is bearing one another's burdens, that is literally written in the Bible. And so, yes, that would be a spiritual principle. There's so many, but a really good one that has been on my mind a lot lately, and what I've recently said in another interview, is community and accountability. And it is really important for us to find a group of friends, but not more than friends, but just like people that you can go deep with, that are your community. That you don't have to be 100% like-minded in everything, but in some things, yes. And then through them, accountability. Like, when you mess up, they're going to call you out on it. If they're doing something they shouldn't be doing, you're going to call them out on it. And those two things, like, I believe that as a Christian, but like for anybody in any, whatever you believe or whatever, like having those two things, even as a musician, like you have your community of people that call you out 100%. When you're not doing what you're doing, you're going to go further together. And so that's one that's been really important to me lately.
I love that. And I can see that no matter where you come from or what you're about, that's a beautiful thing to put together. I really, really like it. Well, Dan Jason asked, do you feel as religious as you once were? And I wanted to get to that question, even though it's kind of broad.
Super broad.
Yeah, it's a really, really broad question. But if you feel like, and you feel comfortable, which I think you do, because you and I have talked about this in a very comfortable way, and I also asked before the show if it was okay if I asked about these views, because some people don't, and you and I have talked about
spiritual things of faith.
Absolutely. So regarding that, I guess, how much is your religion important to you right now? And has it changed in any way? Because as far as I know, it's pretty darn important to you.
Can y'all still hear me? There was a little bit of a lag there. Okay. I would say, as much as possible, I try and shed religion and religiousness, because ultimately, I'm a person of deep faith, but it is about a relationship with God. And so it's not about necessarily like looking a certain way or like checking off all the do's and don'ts, because you can get lost in the legalism.
This is not doctrine.
Or
it is.
Well, doctrine, that's a different word depending on the context, but
it's true.
Religion,
it's true. It means different
and
things.
Being religious, to me, you can lose the actual heart in it, and it can just be all about the show or all about checking off the do's and don'ts. And you can get wrapped up in it and judgmental with it. And so I would say I've shed as much religion as possible. And I stick to faith. I know what I believe in, who I believe in, and I try and live it out. I don't know, is that helpful? Does that answer?
I mean, it does to me, because I'm somebody who notices, it makes a lot of sense to me as far as that's very Jesus. Whereas a lot of things that are, there's no money in the temple, for crying out loud.
Right.
And, but there's a lot of places.
He did a lot of radical things. And if you look at his life, like if you read his biographies, that's like Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
Exactly.
And you just look at how he talks to people, it is incredible. It's not what you'd expect. He also has a sense of humor. And he was harshest with the people that were like at the top of the religion of the day, who were judging people.
Or the hierarchy.
He was challenging that, because they basically took God out of the religion, and it was all about doing or not doing a thing.
Did you ever hear the song by Woody Guthrie, "They Laid Jesus Christ in His Grave"?
I don't think so, but it sounds like
I think you would like it. It's basically the gist is, if he were here today, they'd do the same thing, because he was such a radical and because he had such great ideas. But beautiful Woody Guthrie song. And not really a protest song, more of just a song of like, hey, are you looking at this the way you may want to look at this? You know, here's a possible way to think about this, is what I like about Woody sometimes.
Yeah.
This is great. This is great. And we're talking, that was a great answer. Not exactly at all what I was thinking. This is super cool.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
What is the song? Larry King, this is another guy who I love. He often asks the same question, and thanks everybody who is a regular also that tips. We do appreciate that. Larry King says, I just don't know how to say thanks. I'm awkward about it, but it does keep the show rolling, and it's nice for my guests. What is the song you play when you pick up your guitar? I love this question because it's like everybody thinks about it for a minute, and then they go, like, is there a particular song you play of yours? A lot of times it's something like, oh, I got to get this fingering down, or, oh, it's not sitting under my hands. And a lot of times it's also like, okay, you go to a guitar store, and you see all these guitars, and you do what we like to call the bitch and drool, where you bitch about the ones you can't have, and you drool over the other ones. And you pick up a guitar, and then you play something that kind of says you. Or, you know, is it one of your songs, or is it a song that you love?
Interesting. Well, it depends on if I'm strumming the guitar or if I'm finger picking on the guitar. Like, so
either
it would
way,
be one of two songs. If I'm strumming right now, the song I play is Done, and that will be on the next album. Okay. And if it's finger picking, I usually play These Days, which is on the first.
Also your songs.
Yes.
Yeah. So you tend to do your own songs, something that is it because it makes you comfortable with, you know, like, okay, I know if I can do this, then I know my guitar's in tune, I can check my voice.
Yes. Well, if I'm imagining myself at a guitar shop trying a new guitar, so I want to know, is this a guitar I want to bring into the family? How does it sound playing something? Is it comfortable playing this song that I wrote?
That's a really great way to put it too.
That's my thought process with it. And do I feel like an imposter doing this, or like, does this feel right, you know? And so it's got to feel right so that you can get on stage and it still feel right to play your song on it, you know?
I think that is this a guitar that I want to bring into the family is a really, really good way to put it. It is. Because so many people are like...
looking at that price tag, you're like... Ah.
Yeah, well, there's that too. But a lot of people are like, why do you need another guitar? Well, this other voice is going to give me different songs, you know?
Right.
And you're like...
That's the thing too. If you start playing something, and if it... my guest last night, Josh, was saying he picked up an instrument, and it was like a ukulele. It was a steel guitar, like a small, like, looks like a uke, but it's lap steel. And he immediately started, like, songs were coming out. Like, he was like, there were so many songs in this instrument, I could tell I had to buy it. I had to add it to... Now, I'm saying family. He didn't say that word, but to me, that's what it means, is like when you pick up an instrument and then you start playing something else that isn't a song yet, it's a song now, that's a really good sign.
That is a really, really, really good sign. And I recently got a new electric guitar, and it was probably the first time in my life, maybe the second, where I bought an electric guitar, not because I needed it, but because I was searching for a different sound that was going to inspire me. And that's exactly what it's done. The electric that I was playing when you saw me at the Saxon. Yeah, a friend kind of put that together from a bunch of spare parts, and
nice.
I was looking for something new, and oh boy, I found it, and all sorts of rock and roll songs are coming out of that because I've been awesome. Acoustic over the pandemic. Yep, yeah. Exactly. Now, just to go a little deeper into his question, though.
Okay.
Is there a song that you play when you're not thinking those things? When you're not thinking, like, okay, let's say you just pick up your guitar and you just want to play for the love of playing guitar, or you just want to play something like, you know, a lot of times I'll strum certain Townes Van Zandt tunes because they are so easy on the guitar, but gorgeous and different. You know, I'll play like the beginning to Live Is to Fly, or No Place to Fall, or something like that. Some people like to play like a nice blues lick to get moving.
Yeah. I think maybe odd in this way that I don't. I probably should, but I'm always looking for something new, so I'm just playing around, like trying to find something that sounds new to me. So
I think that's awesome. Yeah.
If it's something that I already know, then it's probably Lone Star by Norah Jones, or Can't Help Falling in Love with You, the Elvis tune, or...
Those are great choices, too.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, if you have those two right there are like, okay, so why the Elvis tune?
That is a great question.
How did it get sort of into your psyche and your being?
Well, just hearing Elvis around, like, you can't really escape Elvis, Beatles, certain iconic groups.
Stuff.
Even though I had a very limited intake of anything outside of Christian music growing up.
Right. We've also talked about that before. Yeah.
Yeah. So in college, there was a guy in a talent show, like in Fish Camp, like the first weekend you're in college. And he had a really low voice. And so he covered the song. And like, it was great, but like the people around me kind of like rolled their eyes. And I'm like, but why is that? Like, it was a nice song, Like, I wasn't as familiar with it. But, like, the eye roll kind of stuck with me. And so, like, I never covered it until, I guess now it's been, like, 5 or 6 years. And I kind of, like, played around and have kind of an alt melody that I sing. And I just really felt like I made it my own. And I think it's a really beautiful song with really beautiful questions in it, Very simple, but I resonate with it a lot.
That's a big part of it, too, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And... I think it's just, I don't know, I really like it. Like, shall I stay? Would it be a sin? There's like that big word that lands in there, sin. Because I can't help falling in love with you. Yeah, so it's just an interesting, there's a lot of conflict, internal conflict in the song, which I think is really intriguing.
I think by these questions, what's really great is sometimes as we go deep, we find new answers to them. And
I'm like, I've never said any of this out loud before.
That's what's so cool about these people's questions. I love my guests, or my audience so much, or our audience that comes together because I get people who know you and the people who are here every week, and they come up with these things that we don't know the answers to, and it's really fun. I think that what resonated with me again there is that, and that I'm noticing is, as we dig deeper, you go, it's a song that speaks to me. It's a song that resonates with me, and it might be out of personal experience, it might be out of lyrics, it might be out of the whole message.
Started with the melody though, and then as I learned it, the lyrics just like, like I felt it, It
was heavy.
Yeah.
Oh man, I dig it. Hey, first of all, you always wear super cool bandanas.
Thanks.
I love your bandana.
Thank you.
Is that a special one?
Not necessarily.
It's a bandana
really
that's got like, is it?
It's kind of
pom-poms?
silky. Yeah, there's little like maybe poms. But I love them so much. I actually just had some made for merch.
You have merch? We have spoken about this. Yeah, show me one if you don't mind. You got them handy?
Yeah.
Come on, let's do a little.
So I almost wore one.
Marketing. We'll do a smidge of marketing right now. Ooh, can you pull up a little closer to the camera too? First of all, I really like purple.
It's a wine color. So one of my favorite. I used to play under the name Crown Magnolia, so we have a magnolia in here. And then I play the kalimba, so the kalimba is worked into the
thumb piano.
design.
Yes, the African thumb piano.
And like the kalimba tines inspired these little like
lines right there.
Pieces. This whole bandana was designed by Ariel Leggett, and it's off of the pattern of. It's similar to a pattern of one of my favorite bandanas that I own.
I love when people make cool merch that's like different and unique to them.
And it has like the Lone Star of Texas star on it.
Right.
But this is actually my favorite star shape right here. I don't know.
Is there a name for that? Is that an 8-point?
Oh, let me count.
I can't even count.
Yes,
I don't know.
There's 8.
8-pointed. Very cool. Very cool.
Yes.
Adrian Quintero, my buddy, he says plank bandana's coming soon.
Dude.
Maybe you never know.
Here's the thing. So I've always wanted to do them, but like the best time is during a pandemic because like it is easy to just pull it up over your face.
Especially for guys with beards. Those of us with beards, especially those of us who have long beards, they're creating all these masks now that go, so that's really good. Hey, I'm just going to do this because I'm shameless and you don't have to be. Can they find those? Or do they have to go to your show? Can they order them from you?
You can. Yes, I'm trying to think which site is the most easy.
Maybe your website?
I put them on Bandcamp, and I'll make a note. I'll make sure that I add my Bandcamp to that.
To the link tree?
Yeah. Where am
Okay.
I
So I bet if people look and they're interested and they dig a cool bandana, then they'll be able to find it. And we'll just leave that up for a little bit as well.
It might be in my link tree because Actually, it is in my link tree. I just added it. So, yes.
Perfect.
People can find it easily.
Yep. And our friend of the show, Kate Howard, said, "Oh, Jeff, I just noticed I'm wearing her t-shirt, which I love."
That's cute.
This is just awesome. And then, it's for the best medicine, her. So there's a little plug for our friend. Okay, let's see. Get some more questions. I want to try and get as many as we can.
There's an easy one. Someone asked about the logo. I can't get it off. It's probably from the app I'm using to use my phone as a camera.
Oh.
And it's like Epoch Cam or Epic Cam.
Oh, yeah, Epoch Cam. Yeah, I remember. I had that for a while. Oh, John Austin says, "Natalie, I love African music," which I do know that. Oh, and thanks, Kent Scarborough. He just put your Bandcamp. I'm going to copy that and make sure everybody can get that. I'm going to put... One more second, John, and then I'll get to you again. Sorry for the I'm not really a professional thing.
I see John's question. I can ask it. Natalie, I love African music. What were your kalimba playing influences? So, I didn't have any. This is how it happens sometimes with musicians. I ended up traveling on a trip, and I couldn't bring my guitar. I needed an instrument that would fit in my luggage. And I knew I needed some kind of instrument. My goal was to write while I was gone, so I borrowed a kalimba from my percussion friend. And I learned how to play it there. It was a 17-time tuned to the key of G. It had a little legend to show me which were which chords. And I wrote a song for a songwriting group that I was in called The Island. The song was called The Island. And I really liked the song. And so all of a sudden I had to go buy myself a kalimba so I could keep playing it. And it's really the only song that I play on kalimba because if most of my sets are 45 minutes to an hour and a half max right now, then...
Do you want to play more than one kalimba song?
No. And I haven't written a song better than The Island on it, so I just play The Island on the kalimba. But sometimes I'll bring it to a writing session just to have a little thing to play on. I have found that one song by John Mayer, Assassin, I think, that starts out with the kalimba and it stays there the whole song. And I definitely pay attention when people start using the kalimba or mbira in their music, and I think it's really cool. But,
well, just so you don't have to do the humble brag, I'm going to mention for you that your was it NPR Tiny Desk?
Yeah, last year.
You were playing the kalimba.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Could you just speak to that just for a minute so that I don't make you... Because it's pretty awesome.
So I've been entering the Tiny Desk every year, but last year I submitted a video of me playing The Island on kalimba, and they did a shout out one week. It was one of their top shelf favorites. So that was really cool. It was literally like 3 weeks before lockdown, and it was like such a high before.
Huge. So cool.
It was really fun. Yeah.
Now, do you find... I think that there's a little bit of a misconception sometimes that when somebody gets something like NPR, and I know it's a misconception that like when somebody's on The Voice, that all of a sudden they're, that a little bit is going to blow them up.
Right.
And it's like, it's really, really wonderful, and it's great to get, a little nod.
Right.
But...
I mean,
my
the
experience...
record deal came out of it, or...
Right.
I don't know. I don't know what you're hoping for, but, like, it's the video of all my videos on YouTube that has the highest play count, but, like, it didn't necessarily translate into all of my videos going over 8,000 views or whatever.
Yeah, and I think that people kind of... There's this strange thing, like, I remember when I first started coming up to Canada, my mom Outlaw was asking about certain people I knew that were on The Voice, and she was like, "Oh, you know that person?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, they're just like us. They're just cats."
Go see them every Tuesday night at so and so.
At so and so, and it's like, it is wonderful that they get to reach a new audience and stuff like that, but it doesn't make them.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like we don't have as much of that because the field is just too vast now, I think.
Yeah, it is definitely an interesting... Because now I have multiple friends who've been on the show, and I used to believe that's how you make it.
Oh, no.
And now I'm like, there have been so many things that don't pan out, you know, that it's like, well,
oh, no.
do it for fun and do it to meet people. And then, like, have fun. Like, don't ever forget to have fun, because if you're not enjoying yourself, it is not worth it.
Yeah. I think the ratio of people who actually make it from those shows is kind of small.
Yeah.
It's kind of small, and people will say, well, what about Carrie Underwood, and what about this person? And I'm like, okay, well, you can't go over 10 fingers with all the shows put together and, like, remember everybody. So
it's been happening for 10...
Yeah, and more.
20 years?
I don't mean to poo-poo on it either, or to use the word poo-poo, which I just did
Twice.
On a show. But I don't mean to, because I think that people do get a lot out of it.
I think it can be really beneficial. You just have to have your head on straight and, like, you know, moderate expectations, like, or moderate your expectations. What's the word? Like, not moderate.
Moderation. Like, Brady poo-poo. Hey, man, what can I say? It's a nice way. I can say shit on this show all I want because we're on cable. But I chose to say poo-poo.
Nice.
So, you know, I don't know what that says
real.
about me. I don't know what... Yeah, I'm keeping it real. It's probably because my dogs are right here. So Kate Howard asks, when do you write best? Morning, noon, or night? And if you don't mind, Kate, I'm just going to do a quick Jeff answer real quick, which is this. I was the night owl. I came home from shows at 2, and I would write until 6 in the morning. And when I got married to a gardener, all that changed for the better. And writing in the early morning is the best thing for me because no one bugs musicians. Not like people were bugging me between 2 and 6.
Right.
But now I'm like clear-headed. Mm-hmm. And so like writing between 7 a.m. and 11 is like no one calls.
You are like the earliest, like you're 2 hours earlier than everyone else, right?
I'm 2 hours earlier. Well, I'm Pacific, so not to people here, not to people on the island. Right. But I'm in Pacific time for my Texas people. And so that's another thing. They'll text me and then I'll say, "Oh yeah, I'm just getting moving. It's 8:25 or something." They'll be like, "Oh my God, I'm sorry." And I was like, "No, I've been up for 2 hours. I took my wife to work."
Nice.
You know.
Yeah.
So,
that's
but
really
what about
smart.
for you?
I have other commitments during the day, so I typically tend to write in the evenings, and I write especially under pressure with a deadline.
Is that right? I found that's good. Yeah.
So, like, the weekly songwriting group is really great because that means I typically write on Sundays. And I write, and sometimes right up into the deadline, and I'm, like, frantically, like, it makes me think and, like, problem solve and really push myself to figure it out. And so, but then there's also the inspiration songs, and they just come when I'm driving in silence. Like, I usually drive in silence so that they can come. I make space for them.
Voice memos good for that. You can do hands-free voice memos.
Yes.
Sing it into your voice memo. It's like we used to have to. I'm old enough that I had to pull over and write something on a napkin. I used to carry a little tape recorder too, like one of those little skinny ones. Mm-hmm. And I have great stories of. Yes, totally. I have great stories of David Byrne having one micro cassette that's got like the band, and then one micro cassette so that he can sing and play one and record on the other when he comes up with something. That's cool. So brilliant. I also have a great story that I got from Kate Howard and from the writer of Eat, Pray, Love, and you could tell me again. And she said that she was interviewing Tom Waits one time, and he was driving down the LA freeway, and he had this great idea from a song, and he just looked up at the ceiling of his car and went, "Can't you see I'm driving?" You know. And nice. I always love that. Okay, we're getting close. So before we go to just on the interwebs and off of the television show, one more thanks to Austin. What did Tom Waits say to God? I don't know. Whoever. Let's see. I'm fixing to reboot the song game. Okay, Kate Howard. Very, very cool. Very cool. Thanks to Austin Music TV before we go off on television.
Thank you.
Austin Music TV, we thank you so very, very much. Thanks to AustinCityJams.com and everybody who watches online every week. My guest, Natalie Price. Ways that you find out about Natalie are right here, or to find her merch, or to find out what she's doing. The link tree has pretty much everything.
Yes.
And the website is the website. But the link tree has links to all of those other things that we mentioned before, and that's how you find. Thanks for everybody who threw in a little tip into the jar, and that'll be the last time I mention that, I think. And we both thank you very, very much for that.
Yes.
Ta-da. Thanks for keeping us going. Nice catch and finish. All right, cool. Oh, and before we go off the air, I always like to ask my question. I only have one question that is officially Jeff Plankenhorn's question for the guests.
Okay.
My question is, what is your guilty pleasure music? And I like to know what people listen to that is not... And it doesn't have to be I'm guilty, because a lot of people say, well,
Right.
I'm not guilty. I don't feel guilty about the fact that I like the Spice Girls. And I'm like, cool. That's my whole point, because
Right.
I am a closet fan-alo. And when I was a kid, my mom played Barry Manilow next to everything else, and I liked it. And so when I hear Can't Smile Without You, I get a warm, fuzzy feeling, and it's just the way it is. What is your surprise Natalie Price listens to this music? And it could be something you're embarrassed of or you're not, or just something that might be like, you know.
Well, something that just... So I really like Taylor Swift. And
Nothing wrong with little
also-
Tay-Tay.
Yeah, she's great. And then I'm trying to look up. It's this Icelandic guy. I don't know how you say his name. I think it's Dottie. Let's see here.
Please tell me you've seen that funny movie with Will Ferrell and the gal from Mean Girls about Iceland music and the competition Eurovision.
Oh, it's Eurovision. That's this. Yeah. Let me here. I'll send you a YouTube link if you want to share it.
I will totally share it.
So it's this. One of my friends had it in their Instagram stories, and I was like, "What is this?" And it's just like, it's so funny. It's this like tall. He's kind of tall and lanky, and just like so ironically and unapologetically like doing all these like weird dance moves, and like it's just
Was it
makes
for
me
Eurovision?
smile. No, it's like all these music videos, and they have like sweatshirts with like a digital version of their face on it, like a pixelated version of their face, and like just all of their videos are just really funny. And I don't know, I think
Now,
it'll make your day.
Is it funny because they mean to be funny, or is it funny because they take themselves seriously? Are you
They
laughing
don't
at
take
them or with
themselves-
them?
With them. It's
Okay,
so
good.
ironic, like all of it,
Yeah.
and they know it, and so it just makes me happy. So.
I mean, I'm a
You're
huge
welcome.
fan of people. No. And I got that link in there for
Cool.
anybody who's still watching on TV. You can get that link if you go to my Facebook or my Twitch or my YouTube. Fantastic. Lee, I will get that Barry Manilow cover for you soon. I've had other things on my plate. That'd be a good thing for me to do next month for Patreon. So
Ooh.
maybe I'll finally do, I don't know, maybe Can't Smile Without You, maybe Mandy. Who knows? Maybe Ready to Take a Chance again.
Nice.
This is getting really weird. Okay, so we got to most of them. We talked a little bit about your recording in Nashville. I want to mention also that you do 20 at 10 with Nat on Monday evenings at 10 p.m. Central.
Central time.
And so you can go back and you can do that. And then I'm just going to do a little scoot through the chat and see if I missed any fun questions. Okay, rebooting the song game. Love it. Heather Miller says, I love a deadline. That's good. Oh, John Austin says, if you are interested in some recent Mbira-based music with songs written from an Americana perspective, check out the last two albums by Joachim Cooter. He plays electric
Nice.
Mbiras from Array Instruments.
I put
How
it in the private
cool.
chat so I can
There
go
you
back
go.
and look. Cool.
There you go. I love that.
Thanks,
The
John.
proper term. Apparently, Lee Doctari says that I need to say poo-poo with an H. Is it the spelling that I got wrong, or did I not inflect my voice right? That's what I want to know. If I'm
Makes me
gonna.
think of Winnie the Pooh though. So
It does think of Winnie the Pooh, right? That's a different
Yeah.
thing altogether. All right, so I'm thinking. I'm just going through. I'm going through for more questions, just making sure Man, it's been super, super fun talking with you today, my friend.
Thank you for having me.
I always like to say I love being had.
There you go.
Any more questions, anyone? We're gonna. Oh, he says can't smile. He wants that can't smile without you. You're gonna have to join my Patreon to hear it, though, Doctari. That's what you're gonna. No, if you, I'd probably send one to you. Don't tell anyone.
Let's see.
All right. Oh no, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
Someone asked about NAMM.
Oh yeah. Have you ever been to NAMM? I have once. Do you know much about it?
No, I don't.
Basically, it's national. I don't know what the acronym is, but it's where you go to find out about the 2021 version of the Alesis 6SP5 keyboard, and then you go over to Alesis, and then you try out that keyboard next to all the other ones, and then you go over to the place that makes mono cases, and you check out all the cases, and you don't buy anything. You just check out what everybody's making, and it's kind of insane because it's usually the size of, football fields.
Will it be you one day with a particular instrument?
Yeah, with the plank. I actually went there with the plank. The Collings people let me go as a guest of theirs, and kind of trying to look for somebody who would build it. But we just haven't found anybody who will build the plank guitar for me, even though I have orders that I can't fill. What are you going to do? Someday maybe. Let's go back to this, and let's go back to Natalie. Natalie, I'm sad we didn't get to talk about the song we did with the Kill Romeos with Joe Hummel. You and I did a song.
Late at night.
Late at night. This song that you and I have written together. But then Joe came along and wanted to do sort of techno EDM version of it. And it turned out spectacular, and we just haven't really figured out how the heck we're going to put that out there right now. But do us a favor, and I'm also going to put the Kill Romeos. We're offline, so I can do all the calls to action I want right now, I think. Yep. So our buddy, the Kill Romeos, is Joe Hummel. And he does techno kind of EDM music, but it's really musical and really beautiful. And so we'll get that out one of these days here.
I'm really excited about it. And I was going to try and send you the MP3 so you could
I could unveil it or play a little bit of it.
Is that appropriate?
I don't know. We'd have to ask Joe first and make sure.
Probably.
Oh, right. Mark wants it. Mark wants us to put it out. Okay, cool.
It's pretty fun.
All right. What else was I going to say? Anything else you want to mention that's coming up?
I might have secretly shared at least one version of it with my patrons on Patreon.
Oh, that's great. That's great. No problem there. Nothing wrong with that. What is your Patreon? Patreon, because I want people. Patreon.com/Nat Price Music. I know that I love my Patreon followers infinitely. Some months you help me work with new artists. Like last month, the money really helped me do some recording while I was in Austin.
Cool.
This month, you're helping me stay alive because I don't have any gigs. Because the Delta variant's knocking me right back down. Your Patreon, I follow, of course, and I think that if you're anything like me, you love your Patreon followers.
Yeah, it's been so. I didn't post as frequently this summer, but it's usually a weekly thing. I'll post an update.
There you go.
And there's a lot of more ways delving into behind the music and the writing process and. Yeah. Mark's a closet EDM listener. All right.
That's so cool. If you were on the show, I'd know what your guilty pleasure is. That's freaking awesome, man. That's nice. Great to hear. Thanks, everybody, for being here. And Natalie, stay on with me here, and we're going to say goodbye to everybody. Next week, my guest is going to be piano player extraordinaire to the stars and to himself. Mr. Floyd Domino is going to be on, so that's going to be pretty spectacular. Awesome. And later in the month, we're going to have Tony Campbell, who's got new music. You know Tony Campbell from Wooden Wire, but he's got his own music that's coming out. So thanks, everybody, for being here. Thank you, Natalie. It's great to hang out with you.
Thanks for having me. It's been fun. Thanks, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Thanks a bunch. Mahalo.